Hello, I'm Steven, the calculator guy, and today we're going to talk about Anchor. So one of the most common questions that I get is like, what is Anchor? How does it work? How does it maintain 20% APY for so long, so consistently? And where is that money coming from? So also, what are these B assets? B-Luna, Bluna, Beth? What are these things? So we're going to talk about all those things and hopefully answer most of the questions, though we may also raise some questions while we're at it. So let's get right into it. Actually understanding Anchor isn't too difficult. Basically it comes down to like their incoming yield and their outgoing yield, right? And we want the incoming to be larger than the outgoing. So the outgoing is what they're paying out in APY to UST stakers, right? That nice, beautiful 20% or 19.4% that everyone goes crazy about, right? This is their outgoing. Their incoming is, well, comes from a few places. It comes from the borrow APR, this 18.45%, and it comes from the yield they're getting on the collateralized B-Luna and the collateralized B-ETH. Those are the major sources of revenue for this protocol and the major sources of UST for the reserve. So the yield reserve can be thought of like the thing that makes this protocol function, or like can add liquid UST wherever this machine needs it. It's kind of like the oil thing, whenever you have some cranks in the machine. But also this can be used to pay out the deposit yield to UST stakers if need be, but with limitations. Okay, so let's check out the math, right? And I will say before we do the math that those are not the only sources of revenue for Anchor, but those are the major sources. Another source for the yield reserve is liquidations. If you look in the documents right here, it says 1% of liquidated collateral value is sent to the yield reserve, which is a portion of which is used to purchase ANC. This fee is also applied separate from bid premium. So maybe it's used to buy ANC, but I think we should consider that this is also contributing to the yield reserve in a way that could be used to pay out APR or APY. All right, so I'm going to open up what I call my video whiteboard where I'm going to sort of do my math in my space here. So we need the in and the out, right? So in is UST deposit and let's say deposit APR. And we're going to want the ETH deposit, or collateralized, I guess. Like we could say collateralized. I'm just going to say collateral. And then B-Luna collateral. So when you hold B-Luna or B-ETH, you're actually, you're getting the APY or APR off of that. And all of that effectively B-ETH is ST-ETH. Just wrapped. That's all it is. And ST-ETH gains yield from Lido, or Lido, or Lido. I say Lido. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I say Lido. So if you look here, stake, Lido. Let's just go to Lido.fi. So I want to show you the APRs of Ether and Luna. So 4.8% and 8.3%. I'm going to get those down. So 4.8% and was it 8.3%? You guys will tell me if I'm wrong. 4.8, 8.3. Okay, cool. So these are the APRs, right? These are the deposit APR. Oh, went too far down. Okay, I think this one is 18.45%. Cool. Okay, so this is all the income that Anchor is getting that they can use for the yield. Now the out would be UST. Okay, so this is deposit. Sorry, this should be borrow. So UST deposit. I don't know how much it is right now, but the deposit APR, and this should be, I don't know, collateral APR or something, or yield, or I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna say APR. We don't need no stinking adjectives before the number. I'm just gonna call this APR. Okay, technically this is APY. let's not get it twisted. Okay, so we have, this is the money coming in, this is the money going out, but now we need the actual numbers. So the USD being borrowed right now is, let's see, total borrow. Here we go. Control C. I'm going to say Control Shift V. Turn that into a dollar. Total deposit. Control C. Oh, Control C. That's 3.7 billion. Control Shift V. Turn that into monies. Cool. The APY here is also 19.4%. We just saw that earlier. Now we need the B ETH collateral. We need the B Luna collateral, or how much of that is collateralized. Luckily, they do it in dollar amount for us, so we can just say 4 billion, because that's, I mean, we're so close, right? Let's just say 4 billion. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4,000. 1, 2, 3, 4 million. 1, 2, 3, 4 billion. That's a lot of money collateralized. Okay, 4 billion. B Luna. Actually, no, I think that was B Luna, wasn't it? Yeah, that was B Luna. So let's put that over there. This is 355 million. So 355, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 million. Okay, so now we're going to see what those totals are, and we're going to compare them to one another, right? So totals. This is going to be pretty easy. We're just going to do this number times this number, right? So this is how much this protocol is bringing in per year from this much amount, or how much they could project to bring in, which is $284 million. If I just drag this over, what we'll see is this is what they're paying out, which is $720 million, and they're bringing in this 294 plus 17 plus 332. Now, again, they're also likely getting money from 1% of liquidations. Now, I don't know how much that is. It was very hard for me to attempt to track that. I looked at Kujira, but I don't have any Kujira staked, so or Orca staked, whatever their native token is, so I couldn't look at all of their analytics, which is kind of a cool service, right? You have to stake the asset to get access to their analytics. Like, I get it. I think there's another really good APY website that has something similar to that, super robust. But like, it's nice. It's a good use case for a token. Okay, so anyways, we want the total of these three combined. So I'll say total in, total out. This is going to be the sum of these three numbers, and this is going to be, well, pretty simple, that. All right, so what do we see here? We see that the total out is actually greater than the total in. But again, we're not accounting for the 1% liquidation fee that we might be getting. Now, you may know Anchor a little bit, and you might say, hey, that 1% is actually the thing that's getting paid to incentivize liquidators. No, this is a totally different 1% fee. All right, 1%. This fee is separate from the bid premium, right? The bid premium is 1% goes to incentivize liquidators, like Kujira. This 1% is specifically dedicated to the yield reserve. And we can see how much would need to be liquidated in order for us to be sustainable here. So now I'm saying sustainable, but like the APR or APY, that 19% can change. It can go from 20% to like 15% and see how long it can hang out there. And what you also have to know is that as market conditions get more bullish, we'll see UST deposits go down because people want to participate in the upward mobility of more volatile assets like Luna, or any other assets, Ethereum, Bitcoin, etc., etc. As market sentiment gets more bearish, we'll see more and more people deposit into Anchor. Now, unfortunately, I mean not unfortunately, but interestingly, a lot of other chains are actually now funneling funds into Anchor, and we will see what the long-term effects of that may be. But because, I mean, we're seeing a meteoric rise in the volume in Anchor, we might see potentially a shift in the APY. And I say that very delicately because I know, like I myself, love the Terra Luna ecosystem. So I never want to say anything that comes off as bearish or fuddy about any of these chains or protocols. I just want to say, like, here are the numbers. Understand that this number may not be permanent and may need to adjust in order to be sustainable. Now, luckily, there's a revenue model. They're not just printing off money and giving it to people. The revenue model comes from staking the collateral and earning assets through Lido, or Lido, whatever it is, and also through their borrow APR, which they can also adjust. Now, granted, the borrow APR is adjusted to meet demand. So if there's not much demand, they're going to reduce the borrow APR so that, you know, more people are confident in borrowing. So that is important to realize and to understand. Okay, let's go. So let's do the math, right? In minus out equals boom minus boom. So right now it's saying negative 86 million, right? Now, on the bright side, there is yield reserve of 77 million. And this fluctuates. If you looked at it a month ago, it was probably like around the 60s, and now it's in the high 70s. But I will say, like, it's sort of been here for a while. The yield, I haven't been seeing it increase at the same rate it was increasing before. But, you know, you have to consider, like, starting roughly in December, things started to get real heavy. And you can also see that the borrow is going down. So as the borrow goes down and the deposit goes up, we're going to see more disparity in those numbers. So something you have to consider. So let's say it's 86 million, right? I'm just going to get that number. And if we assumed that 1% of the liquidation fees or of the liquidation value could account for that, then we can see how much would need to be liquidated in order to compensate for that. So that would just be equal, I'm going to say -1 times this number, then divided by 0.1. Okay, so we would need to liquidate $865 million in order to, $8.6 billion in order to account for this with a 1% fee going to the yield reserve. So that's a lot of assets to liquidate, whether they be ETH or be Luna. It's a lot of assets. So, you know, okay, so let's review everything, right? We can also do one more thing, which is what would the APY have to be in order to be sustainable at the current metrics, right? So the APY that you're seeing now is sort of based on historical data. If we want to project an APY based on current data, what would that be in order to be sustainable? So let's say sustainable APY. And please, you know, lunatics out there, and I say lunatic like people who love the Luna chain, don't come after me. I'm just doing math here. And to the best of my knowledge, I have put all the data that I believe fits into this puzzle piece in this. And I have reached out to the team as well to sort of discuss these things and see what I may be missing. So if there is anything that I'm missing, please do let me know. But this is just the best math that I can do given the data that I have, right? And even if you look at the original documents for this protocol, they even say that the APY comes directly from the proof of stake POS yields on BETH and BLuna, or ETH and Luna via Lido, whatever. So I'm doing my best, guys. No fun intended. Okay, so the sustainable APY. This one's pretty simple, right? You just take in the deposit and the total in. So equals this divided by this, and you get 17%, which isn't that bad. So right now, we could be sustainable at 17%. And, you know, if this total in got less and less and less compared to the total out, then, you know, it might change. Like if the total in went down to, let's say, 500, 1, 2, 3 million, is that 700 million? Yeah, 500 million, right? You know, a sustainable APY would be this. But if the deposit increased, because people were really bearish in the market, to like 5 billion, 5, 1, 2, 3 thousand million billion, then we might need a 10%. So you have to keep in mind that these things are subject to change. More people could deposit here, but as the APY goes down, people are going to take their stablecoins to other stable yield opportunities and not just this one. Okay, so hopefully that sort of covers what Anchor is, how it works, and the sustainability metrics and numbers. I'm not saying it's not sustainable. I'm not saying it is sustainable. I'm just trying to show you the math associated with it. It seems like we're pretty close to sustaining that 19% number, right? Like right now with the current metrics, we're looking at 17%, and that's totally ignoring the any liquidation fees that may be going into the yield reserve, and also totally ignoring the yield reserve itself. So ignoring those things and still getting 17% APY is pretty good, but we have to keep in mind that as this increases and this decreases, or as this increases and these deposits or the collateralizations decrease, that those numbers are subject to change, and that that future potential APY, sustainable APY, will also decrease. Now, if the market conditions get more bullish, then this is probably going to go down, and this is probably going to go up because more people are going to be borrowing to invest in these other high return, more volatile protocols, and people are not going to wanting to get 20% APY when they can get absurdly high percents on playing the market. All right, guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you want this video before anyone else, if you want access to me and you want to ask me questions and you want me to answer within 24 to 48 hours, please go ahead and join the Patreon. I post the videos there early. You have access to all my calculators and, of course, me. Otherwise, there was one more thing I want to show you guys really quickly that I'm sort of working on or releasing, and that is I'm trying to decentralize my crypto research. So I go to my drive. I'm sharing this in a few different places: my Discord, my Twitter, and in the Patreon, at least for right now. What this is a research aggregator. So you can enter your name and your social so that you can so I can see who provided this research and tell me all about the protocol that you want me to talk about and what stage of development it's in. So hopefully using this, well, one, this research is going to be available to the Patreon group, and I'm going to take all the research, which gets spit out into a nice spreadsheet, and I'm going to do multiple filters for it, so for APY, for APRs, for different types, and provide that. Now, additionally, the hope is that with the leaderboard, with the research that I use from this, I will be able to pay the researchers who provided that. So that's the long-term goal, like people providing research as a service to me, and then me distributing that research as a service to the community. And hopefully everyone is getting paid in that process. So this is very early days. It's still sort of a theoretical concept, but we've already gotten 13 pieces of research, which to me is super exciting. And that's it. So you can also see like the level of risks. Okay. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful, fantastic, enthusiastic rest of your day.